Good day, Physicians Weight Loss Centers, and today is the last day of the month. Today is Tuesday, March 31st. I know everyone's got their rally caps on to pull out a huge march. As noted yesterday, we're experiencing about a 5% increase in eliminating the deficit that's been created the first part of the year. So a lot of centers, and thankfully, are reporting very quickly, very accurately. So we're getting a good read on how the overall network is doing within 7 business days. So there's just a few holdouts on reporting data accurately and in a timely fashion. So I really want to encourage everyone to stay focused today and have success. Now remember, as I noted yesterday, you've got to make sure that you split up this week when reporting. You're going to have 2 separate reporting weeks. One ends today, one begins tomorrow and finishes at the end of the week. So we'll continue to remind everyone of that as the week proceeds. In today's success in the written version, I'm talking about March Madness, lessons from college basketball. And this time of year, it's not uncommon for me to be sitting around in my man chair, as my kids refer to it, watching one basketball game after another. And thank goodness CBS, the minute a game starts getting boring, switches to another game somewhere. I love the excitement of the crowd, the electricity of the teams, the overall competition. I've got to admit, I'm definitely a March Madness junkie. However, I'm ultimately a junkie, not just over the games, but because of the sport, but because of the great stories told after a win that have a direct parallel to the success in our centers. If you've ever been involved in highly organized competitive sports, you learn early on to prepare for the what ifs. I sound like a Metropolitan Life commercial, and by what ifs I mean, what if the bases are loaded? What if we're down by 2? And what if we need 3 to win? What if we're facing a left-handed pitcher? What if we're facing a right-handed pitcher? What if the wind's coming from the left? Excuse me. What if the wind's coming from the right? All scenarios that are practiced over and over again with the approach of, what if we face this scenario? What do we do to have success? Now, as a former student athlete, I can tell you nothing, and I mean nothing, drives a player crazier by midseason than practicing these relentless what-if drills at the end of every practice. I happened to hear a story this morning about one of the college teams that made it to the Final Four. And how did they do it? By successfully running a what-if play with single-digit seconds on the clock to win the game and make it into the Final Four. A player was quoted as saying that he was never so sick of practicing that play, that he was so sick of practicing that play at the end of every practice for 3 years because the opportunity never presented itself, and he was convinced that the play wouldn't work and doesn't work. To his surprise, during one of the greatest moments in college sports every year, the scenario lived, the play was executed, and it resulted in the team winning. Sound familiar? Maybe something like, PAMS doesn't work. Asking for referrals while setting an appointment doesn't work. Contest boxes don't work. Flyers don't work. Asking for referrals before closing the sale doesn't work. Closing the sale 4 to 5 times doesn't work. Yada, yada, yada. Insert here doesn't work. Have you ever heard someone say any of these things? I have. Heck, I've even said it about every single one of these things except for the PAMS ads. The reason I said it was out of ignorance and complete lack of experience. And I don't mean ignorance in a bad way. I just mean not having the experiences and the exposures. After I got some time under my belt, I realized that in my mind, these things didn't work based on my frequency and my expectations and how often I thought it should work. But collectively, for the center team, for the course of the week, the month, the year, all of these things work and continue to work. I was looking at it from my perspective as opposed to the coaches, or in this case, the franchisee's perspective. The basketball coach knew that even if the success rate was not over 50%, there was still a chance it would work and success would result. It's all about experience and exposures. I've been in our business for a span of 20 years, a little over 20 years, and there are moments when Chuck Sakaris gives direction on something for which I'm thinking, that will not work. All of a sudden, my 20-year span of experience is trumped by his 35 years of experience. The same holds true at the center level. The perfect example of this is the telephone script. I can certainly see why someone would wonder why the darn phone script is so important from corporate's perspective. Simple. After 20, 30, even 35 years of experience, we've seen one consistency, and that is centers that know and practice the correct use of the phone script statistically produce sales higher than those that do not. It's not a subjective thing. It's reality. Like it or not, it's the truth. Those are the facts. So practice for the what-ifs every week, and the best way to do that is 10 real or role-play presentations every week. Have a great day, and we'll have some more March rankings for you later in the day as well as tomorrow. So long, everybody.